Zimbabwe is battling one of the worst droughts in its history, with close to 8 million people requiring food aid until the next harvest. On Tuesday, Cabinet announced a comprehensive food aid distribution plan targeting areas that were affected by the El Niño-induced drought. This comes after the country's leader, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, recently launched an appeal for $2 billion United States dollars for drought mitigation, as well as to build future resilience. So just how prepared is the country now to feed the affected population? Just how much grain is available and how much will the country need to import? To answer this question and more, we are joined live by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Professor Obert Jiri. Good evening, sir. Now, according to the latest data released by the ministry, there are over 7 million food insecure people in the country. What metrics did you as authorities use to define a food insecure citizen?
Yeah, so in terms of food insecurity, certainly it's a household that has not produced enough. So we understand that we have just come from a drought situation. The season was not so good. So certainly we go in, we assess, does this household have enough food to take them to the next harvest? So that is the first assessment that we do. But we also go a notch further to assess and look at the particular circumstance of that household. So we assess child-headed households who will have no means to get any other source of food. We assess the elderly who also are in the same predicament. We assess those disabled, and then we assess those that have not harvested enough to take them to the next season. So certainly we will then know when we do those assessments what food is available at the household level, and will then be assessed to be given the food.
Right. Now, the ministry recently announced that there are over 400,000 metric tons of maize in stock, enough to last until October. What is the plan to plug the deficit and ensure the country has enough grain supply until the next harvest?
So currently we have the stock that we have, which you are referring to in terms of the GMB and what's being held by the private people. So that's number one. Number two is also the meager harvest that we have, just assessed, which is around about 700,000 metric tons. And then thirdly, we do have imports that are happening by the private millers, which are also coming into the country to assist in terms of food security. And fourth, we also have our wheat stocks that are in the GMB, which are also assisting in terms of food security. But more importantly, in terms of wheat, is the winter wheat strategy that we have. So the winter wheat strategy as a food security strategy means that we are going to produce wheat this season, and that wheat would hit our silos in October. So the food that we have, which is able to last us till October, means that it will coincide with the time when we will be harvesting our wheat. So it's important that we produce wheat this season. That is why we have set a high target of 120,000 hectares, which we are going to hit. And if we manage to plant all of that in May, it means we will have close to 600,000 metric tons that will hit the country in October to avert the worst of the food insecurity situation.
Right. Now, before I let you go, may you take us through the food aid distribution plan?
So certainly the Minister of Agriculture would release grain that is requested by the Minister of Social Welfare through the GMB, and once that is done according to the schedules that are given by the Minister of Social Welfare after the assessment of vulnerabilities. So once that is released to GMB, it will then go to the necessary households that are required. So a lot of movement in the depot, in the GMB depot movement is happening currently, and a lot of onward transmission and transportation to the actual ward where the food is required is also happening. So at the end of the day, in the particular ward, a list is there as assessed, and that list is what determines what goes into that particular ward and who gets the particular food portion as determined by the list. So we understand at the moment that every person in the vulnerable household will get 7.5 kgs of grain, and that is able to keep them for a whole month. So that is the process that is happening at the moment.
Konapo Konapo, Ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.